Okay, 7 deadly sins that real estate agents commit. And I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can so you can get the hay out of here. But I've been thinking a lot about things that we do that make no sense, or things that we don't do that we should be doing. And so last night I was thinking about the 7 deadly sins of real estate agents. First off, see, I got to click. I can't do both.
Too hard.
I guess I'm not a
Pat your head and rub your tummy.
Can't do that either, I guess.
No go.
We're wasting our time on low payback tasks.
Yes,
We're wasting our time on leases or mobile homes or $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 buyers or on doing BPOs. Okay, I'm going to pick on BPOs because I know a lot of you are doing them. And if you have to do BPOs because you've got an REO account and they expect you to do BPOs, I understand that. How long does it take you to do a BPO?
20 minutes.
Okay, it takes me about 3 hours to do a good BPO, especially if they're not right here in Moreno Valley. If I got to run to, I did a BPO last winter for a bank that I was doing business with, and it was in Mead Valley. And first off, just going to Mead Valley took me, down a dirt road, oh, it was awful. Anyway, it took me a good hour to go out, take all the pictures I needed, come back. Then it took me at least a couple hours to put the BPO together, for which I received a whopping $50.
Right on.
Okay, $50. So how much money did I make per hour?
0.
Did I make enough to cover my gas? Not, almost not, right? Right? So why are we spending time doing BPOs for $12 an hour? What if you spent the same 3 hours that you could be, that you're utilizing, what if you spent those same 3 hours and prospected? What if you knocked on doors for 3 hours?
Take an REO account though.
Huh?
That's how you get an REO account.
It's not how you get an REO account.
That's when they start you off, right?
Not necessarily, no, and probably not. Most people that do REOs or BPOs are not going to have REO accounts. REO accounts are about applying for an REO account and showing your history of sales. They're not good. Very rarely are you going to get an REO account if you don't have a strong sales history. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. They're not going to say, oh, look, you did 2 sales last year, and so, yeah, we're going to hand you 10 REOs per year. It's not going to happen. You need to have a strong sales history. So if you're thinking that that's the end to an REO account, you might be the 1 out of 100, but I just don't think so. I think they're looking for a strong sales background. So great, if you want to do REOs, keep doing them, but what I'm saying is, it's a time waster. You're not making any money doing it, and you're spending a heck of a lot of time doing it. So, showing buyers property that aren't motivated, that are unwilling, unable, or just simply unmotivated. They're difficult. Chris met with a buyer the other day here in the office yesterday. They had gotten kicked back through a lead router, and I sent it to him because he had just shown a house for, I forget what the situation was. Anyway, so he met the guy here at 8 o'clock, and they looked at some stuff on the internet, and he said, this guy is a jerk. Is that what he said? Yeah, he's not the lobby. He says, this guy's a jerk. I don't want to work with this guy. Great, kick him back. Because if he's a jerk at the beginning, what's he going to be at the end?
A bigger jerk.
Exactly. Thank you, Diane. Okay, so low payback tasks. Don't do them. Look for high payback tasks. I'm not saying kick a $150,000 buyer to the curb if you don't have anything to replace him. But if you could work with a $200,000 buyer, but you're spending all your time working with an $80,000 buyer, that doesn't make sense, does it? So have your pipeline full so that you can kick people to the curb if they're unmotivated or unwilling or jerks. Unable. Yeah, there you go. Working with unqualified, unmotivated, unrealistic buyers or sellers. Okay, well that dovetails right into the last thing we were talking about. In Lead Router, when you take a lead and you're going to fill it in, there's 3 little check boxes. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And it's, what does that say there?
Ready, willing, and able.
Ready, willing, and able. So if you've talked to this buyer and they go, I really want to buy a house, They're ready. They're willing maybe, but I can't buy anything until for 6 months because my credit has to clear, and well, I have really bad credit. Kick them to the curb,
Yeah, they
or
just
put
go
them in an
for
incubate
divorce.
status. Put them in an incubate status and keep them for 6 months. Check up with them once in a while if you want to do that. But don't put them in your car. And don't be showing them property. And don't be spending a whole lot of time with them. Just incubate them. 1 call a month works. Okay. Follow-up. Or lack of follow-up. Or poor follow-up. Or no follow-up.
And they made it in the car.
20% of your time should be spent in follow-up. 20% of it. You should be following up with everybody that you talk to who hasn't bought a house. I think that we don't follow up. I think that we push that to the wayside because it's uncomfortable. I don't like following up. I mean, I follow up with agents all the time. I spoke to an agent 3 months ago, last week, 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago. So, are you ready to make a change yet? Hey, are you ready to come over? I know you guys are getting these calls because I'm making them. And I hate making them. Because the agents go, oh my God, no, leave me alone, not yet. Or I'm not interested, or I'm happy where I'm at. They tell me that all the time, and I go, okay, and I feel like a used car salesman. But I'll tell you when I feel really good about it. I feel really good about it when the agent that I'm calling says, you know what, I'm really glad you called. Now, I've called them 12 times in the last 18 months. I'm really glad you called. Something happened, and I'm ready to make the move. That's when I'm happy that I made the call. You're going to be really happy when you do a lot of follow-up, when your client says, gosh, you know, I'm really glad you called because I'm not ready to buy, but my cousin is and she's got cash. Or I am ready to buy, or I'm ready to sell. But you're not going to know that if you don't follow up. Here's a quick story for you. I attend a political organization down in Riverside. I go once a month. I'm the vice president.
Not the mayor.
You know which one it is, Matt.
I think I do.
Yeah, you do. Anyway, so I joined this organization because I'm interested politically, but also because I thought this is a good networking opportunity for me because I've been in the business for 23 years, and guess what? All my friends are realtors. So my sphere of influence, not so good, right? So I joined this political organization. Okay, well, most of the people in this political organization that I go to monthly are realtors. 60. No, they're a lot of little old ladies, right? Which is great, that's fine. So this little old lady says, so what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm a realtor. And she says, oh, where do you sell houses? And I said, well, all over, but my office is in Moreno Valley. And she goes, you know, I got a house in Moreno Valley I need to sell, probably sometime this year. And you know what I did? I went, that's nice. Okay, cool. And guess what? I looked at the MLS the other day, and there's this really nice house on the top of Calmia with a view of the entire valley for $400,000 that's in escrow. And guess whose house it is? And I could have listed that house. All I had to do was follow up with her. All I had to do was call her. And I just pretty much ignored her, put her to the back of my mind, and just didn't even think about it. So there's a lesson for you. So if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. It happens to every single one of us all day. How many of you have taken a listing, or how many of you could have taken a listing and you see it listed by somebody else? And oh, does it kill you?
Yes.
Oh, that hurts. So follow up. That's the answer. Internet fog. You're blogging. You're updating your website. You're on all kinds of social media sites. You're on the internet constantly. And you need to do those things. You do. But you don't need to overdo those things. You can't, nothing is going to replace personal contact with clients. So I'm not saying that you should only door knock and be on the internet. But I'm also saying you shouldn't only be on the internet and not door knock, or hold open houses, or make phone calls to your sphere of influence, or follow up with your sphere of influence. You need to get out of that internet fog because you can't rely on it. What's the difference between marketing and prospecting? Marketing is passive. Marketing is, it could be a magazine. You could be putting an ad in the magazine. You hope that you put that ad in the magazine, or that ad on Craigslist, or you put listings on your website. You hope that you're going to get a lot of buyers and sellers back from that. But you can't. You can predict it, but you can't depend upon it. Door knocking is proactive. It's aggressive. Open houses, to a point, is proactive and aggressive. So the difference is you going out and getting the business, or putting something in place and waiting for it to happen. And you should be doing both. But you can't just work on your internet stuff, your social media stuff, and expect good results. Fifth deadly sin, no plan. You don't have a plan, or you don't execute your plan. What's your plan? I want to close 24 transactions this year. I want to close 36 transactions this year. I want to close 12 transactions this year. Okay, let's take 24. I want to close 24 transactions this year. What do I need to do that? Well, I figure 12 of my transactions are going to come from my sphere of influence, which means that I need to be contacting my sphere of influence. Well, how often do I need to contact my sphere of influence? How do I need to contact my sphere of influence? Well, I'm going to contact them 4 times a year by handwritten cards. I'm going to send out Christmas cards. I'm going to send out, don't forget to turn your clock forward or set your clock back. I'm going to send out 4th of July. Okay, so that's 4 times a year, right? Spread out. I'm going to call them 4 times a year. I'm going to call them 4 times a year. I'm going to say, hey, it's me. Yeah, I'm not calling for personal stuff right now. I'm calling for business. And I'm wondering, do you know of anyone who wants to sell their house, or anyone who's looking to buy? 4 phone calls a year. And then I'm going to try and make it a point to run into them 4 times a year, or I'm going to send them personal emails 4 times a year, or I'm going to send newsletters, or whatever I'm going to do. Okay, I take that and I calendar it. So on Tuesday nights, I'm going to be following up. I'm going to be making follow-up phone calls. And on the first Tuesday of every month is when I put together cards for this month, or whatever it is. Or open houses. Out of the 24 transactions I hope to do this year, I think 6 of them are going to come from open houses. Well, how many open houses do I have to have a month then? Maybe 2. I need 2 open houses a month. And then I have good follow-up skills. Am I calendaring that? So plan and calendaring go hand in hand with the tasks that are involved in each step. But I think that a lot of us don't have good follow-up or have a plan. I think a lot of us don't have a real good plan in mind, or you'd have to blow the dust off of it because you put it together last December and you don't even remember what it looks like.